Welcome back to another episode of Didi Got a Podcast. I'm your host, Didi. I know I am a little bit behind. I know I've changed the time once again multiple times. It's a reason for this. Somebody said Didi got a late start. My girl responded and said Didi got a life. Yo, today is going to be a very long episode, but I promise you, if you've been waiting, it's going to be well worth the wait. This is going to be a long one. We are going to go on a journey in today's episode. All I ask at the very beginning always is to please hit the like button, but I also ask you all to just bear with me. As you know, I don't have some 4 or 5 person team that's sort of working the gadgets and the things with me. There's a lot of moving parts, but again, if you're rocking with the content, you are going to get what you are looking for in today's episode. All right, so that is what's most important here. Jack Posobiec is going to be the individual who is the topic of today's discussion. As we know, he was closely affiliated with Charlie Kirk. This is important. This video will mostly revolve around Jack Posobiec and not as much about Charlie Kirk. Charlie is going to come up at points in this video, but there are some things we need to discuss as it pertains. And I took quite a bit of notes, been conducting some research. And like I just say, just be patient with me. If this was a pre-recorded video, then obviously you'll get the instant gratification of information and images and videos and clips. But that's not what this is. So just bear with me. All right. But before we get into Jack Posobiec or Jack Posobiec or Jack Posobiec, I've seen people pronounce his name so many different ways. Before we get into him, I got a couple of announcements I want to get out of the way. I found out over the past couple of days that Casanat, if you all don't know who that is, Casanat is the number one streamer in the world any given day. Is probably between him and I Show Speed. Casanat is also the individual, surprise, that was just recently over the past few months was seen in a photo shoot wearing a dress, right? As a man who claims to be heterosexual. They got him, as they say, but I think they had him from the beginning. I think that was part of the reason he was able to trend and get to the point to where he is. I will put an image, let me see if I have an image of him in my archives. If I do, I'll be able to put him up here. As a matter of fact, we can just search it. Let me see, just so you all can know who this is if you've never seen him before. Okay, that's not gonna work. Let's look up Casanat. Let me show you all who this is. This is Casanat. Right. For those of you that don't know, Casanat III is a YouTuber and Twitch streamer known for his energetic personality, comedy skits, and record-breaking subathons. Sanat has established himself as a Gen Z media voice by collaborations, etc. But this is what he looks like, and this individual is not even 5 minutes from my house. He's literally not even 5 minutes from my house, which is crazy in my case because many of you all live in big cities like Dallas, San Antonio, New York, maybe Tampa, Miami, Los Angeles, things like that. I don't live near places like that. I live in little old Arkansas, and he is literally 5 minutes from my house, hosting his streamer university. I thought that was super interesting. I do need to do a video on him at some point for sure. Yeah. That reminds me, somebody said 105 likes with 186 in the chat. Yeah, like, come on, let's hit that like button. That helps a lot. But that reminds me, I need to share this link on my Patreon for my free members. I have almost 10,000 people that's subscribed over there. And this is a way that I can sort of override the shadow ban on YouTube if I share in real time with people that I am live. So let me do that here at the beginning. Again, this is going to be a little bit of a slow start, but it's going to be well worth it. I believe it's going to be well worth it. We have a lot of information to talk about today. Let me go ahead and share this over here on Patreon, which, by the way, if you want access to videos, today's video is going to be a Patreon exclusive. except it's going to be on YouTube. That actually reminds me, it's going to be a Patreon exclusive. That is to say, the things that we're going to discuss are things I never talk about on YouTube. I rarely ever talk about, I rarely ever get this deep into the occult, into these three-letter agencies. I typically say that for Patreon, but we're going to talk about that today as we discuss Jack Posobiec and Charlie Kirk. Let me, what am I doing? Okay, boom. Let me share this over here for Patreon members so they can know that I am live in real time. And after we get that shared, we'll be good to go. Post. Okay, let me link it. Jack Posobiec, the Fed linked to Charlie Kirk is going to be the title of it. But I don't mean to say Fed linked to Charlie Kirk as if Charlie Kirk was innocent, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. So that is officially shared for all Patreon members, including the free members, so that they are aware that we are currently live. All right. And so with that, let me get my butt back over here. All righty, y'all. Let's get into it. So yeah, Castanet is down the road. I thought that was interesting. The next announcement is that I think I have finally figured out Candace Owens. You heard me correctly. I think I figured it out. What I mean by that, I think I figured out the Candace Owens angle. And what I mean is I've been constantly questioning over the past 10 months or so, why is it that they have been allowing Candace Owens to trend? Why are they not suppressing her content? And somebody made a good point. They said, well, I think they are trying to suppress her content because I haven't been notified when Candace goes live. Many times I have to go and search her videos, much like I have to search her videos as well, Didi. I mean, that's true. Maybe her videos could be doing even better. But the truth of the matter is Candace Owens is getting well over 1 million views, 1.5 million views every upload talking about this Charlie Kirk thing. And I think after interacting with many of you all on Patreon, after I made the post that I made that many of you all are already aware of, I made a post a few days ago on Patreon, and I think I know. I think I figured it out, and I think some of you all had already been privy to this, and you gave me something to look into and think about. And I think I know why they're allowing her to trend. In short, I'm going to say I believe Candace is genuine. What do I mean by genuine? I'm not talking about the people she's affiliated with. I have questions about that. But I do believe that Candace believes the things that she's saying. I do. Like I've been saying that I believe she's genuine. However, I think I figured out why it is that they're allowing her to trend. So with that, I'm going to drop that video as a Patreon exclusive later today. I'm actually going out of town today. So I'm going to drop that for my Patreon members and we can talk about that. Not enough time to talk about that in today's video on YouTube in particular. Once again, link is in the description to both the Patreon. If you want access to many videos you cannot find here on YouTube. Also, link is in the description to the merch store. We will be running the sale in due time. My people are telling me I'm not getting enough visits to my site. So I just try to remember to plug it in. It's not really a priority of mine, but they're on me and telling me that it should be a priority. All right. I want to put this up here because I wanted to let everybody know I will not be referencing all of the Charlie Kirk Freemasonic and occultic references that we've made over the past few months. I'm going to try to bypass that. If you want an update, if you want my thoughts on many of the things that many other people found and I've found as well, this is one of the great videos to get started. It is already linked in the description, and it is called Who Really Took Out Charlie Kirk. As you can see here in the thumbnail, it says, in quotes, Charlie was involved. And you'll hear my thoughts on that quote in that video. I'm sharing this thumbnail so you can know the video once you see it, but it's also linked in the description. It was a live that we did. It's about 1 hour and 47 minutes. It's well worth the watch. But it's also important because you're going to be kind of confused and kind of lost. And if you've already watched this video, this is a reminder because everything we find and we discuss in this video is going to just be added to the things that we've already discussed about Charlie Kirk and the people that was around Charlie Kirk. All right. So there's that. I would love to read a pinned comment from a video that I interviewed the 3 young ladies who attended the Tyler Robinson preliminary hearing last week, as you all are already aware of. And in that live video, once it went public, I've also already discussed this on Patreon. But for those of you that are not on Patreon, there was a young lady or a person cosplaying as a young lady, one of the two, that hopped in the comment section of my video, and we're going to read this comment. The reason why we're going to read it before we get into this video about Jack Posobiec, because I want to show you one of the biggest inspirations for why I'm doing this video today. All right. And why I'm going to be posting that video later today on Patreon. So I attended the Tyler Robinson preliminary hearing. Here's the truth. So let's click on this video, and he still ended up, boom. All right. Let's go to the pinned comment. Let's see if I can zoom in so you all can see it as best as possible. Let me see how that shows up on you all's end.
Sick of paying for hours you aren't even sure your team actually worked? See this little sticker tag from Connect Team? It's gonna save you tens of thousands of dollars a year. Okay. No more expensive hardware, no more manual admin work. Your team walks in, they just tap their phone to the NFC tag and boom.
Cool. You just wait until I zoom in and then you start playing. Of course. I mean, that's how it's supposed to go. All right. What is going on here, man? Dude, what? What is it doing? Sheesh. All right. It says, and just so people are not confused, in short, what happened in this live, incredible ladies, incredible interview, incredible conversation, in my opinion. At one point of the conversation, one of the ladies named Billy mentioned the fact that Brandy, who was the lady to one of the ladies that attended the preliminary hearing, she ratioed Benny Johnson, who has millions of followers on Twitter alone. Brandy does not even have a fraction of that. And Benny Johnson, as we know, posted on Twitter that he had seen this high quality HD footage of Tyler Robinson, Pow Pow, and Charlie Kirk. None of us believed him. He got like 1 or 2 million impressions or people that viewed his tweet or his video. Brandy, who does not even have a fraction of his followers, she got well over 3 million impressions, which Billy was saying was an incredible accomplishment. And I agree with her. But I also share with her that it's good news and it's bad news. It's good news is that she did it. She's standing for truth. Shout out to Brandy. She's doing the right thing. The bad news is these people don't do it for that reason. And what I mean by that is they don't care. They're going to just keep coming, which means there's going to have to be many of us to also keep coming as well with truth, because truth is going to prevail. Well, somebody in the comment section had some choice words for you, boy. So with that, let's read what this person had to say. They say, Billy, you are absolutely right about what you said. It does matter what Brandy got. It does matter that Brandy got way more views. And regardless of what Diddy thinks about it, all of you are making a huge difference, and it's obviously got all the TPUSA shields shaking in their boots, because otherwise they wouldn't be coming out in full force attacking y'all and all the truth seekers the way they are. All of the content creators and the commenters on YouTube and X who have been investigating and reporting the truth for the last 10 months are truly making a difference, which I concur. I agree. Diddy has stated many times that he doesn't have time to watch other podcasts. So he's not only out of the loop and behind a lot of times whenever new info is uncovered, but he also doesn't see all of the constant engagement and conversations on all platforms and realize just how much of a difference all of it has made in waking so many people up to truth. He's been covering psyops for a long time, and he does some great work. Here's the good part, y'all. She goes, but in my opinion, he also gets a little too caught up in all of that to where he literally thinks everyone is part of a psyop, a Freemason, or part of the Illuminati. In my honest opinion, I think all of it has become one giant psyop in and of itself, because it's literally everywhere on the internet now. I think that's intentional to make people like him go down giant rabbit holes looking for people making hand signals to distract them from the much bigger, more evil things going on, like all the possible, you see the word there, connections that Candace keeps running into in this investigation. There's a few things in this. I like how she's once again using Candace as sort of the standard. Candace does incredible work, but Candace is not the standard on investigations. But yes, she's using Candace as the standard, which is very odd to me. But she also says that the things that Candace in particular has found are the more important things we should be focusing on instead of quote, giant rabbit holes looking for people making hand signals to distract them from much bigger, more evil things going on, which tells me this person has no clue how psyops work. She has no idea about the people who are behind these psyops and the purpose, and as to why hand signals are extremely important, which we're going to prove in today's episode. It also explains to me, and this is not even attacking the person, that they don't know what they're talking about when they say things like, where is it at? He literally thinks everyone is a part of a psyop. No, I don't. Using the term everyone doesn't help. She says a Freemason, I do believe many of these people are Freemasons, or part of the Illuminati. I've never once in life accused these people or anybody of being in the Illuminati. The Illuminati is a bloodline. It's not the same thing as Freemasonry. It's not necessarily the same thing as being a part of a psyop. But I'm gonna read my reply, and then we're gonna get into today's episode. I said, love and respect the comment. Not upset with you at all. Does seem like you are a bit defensive, though. I am not against anything the lady said, but you do realize that the very thing you said about me is the very thing Candace does as well, right? Respectfully, you are not even sure what you're talking about listing the Illuminati. That's a family bloodline. Candace literally believes Charlie was taken out in a Freemasonic ritual. Lady, that literally aligns close with what I'm saying. And it's because it absolutely was Freemasonic in nature. The signs are everywhere. You would prefer I ignore it just to align with others to make you more comfortable and make the story more believable, in my opinion. Newsflash, most major events are psyops. It's just a matter of who is involved. The craziest part is that I have very good reason to believe that Charlie is possibly alive, and you pretend that I don't. I don't believe everyone is in on it. Exaggerating doesn't help anyone here. I agree that by missing out on many people's shows keeps me partially out of the loop, but I am able to catch many things other places besides YouTube Lives. Someone like Jesse on Fire watches all these people's shows and still came up with a 3 or 4 part, very long series covering why he believes Charlie Kirk is alive. How do you explain that? I think for myself, and while I love many of the things Candace says, many folks don't follow her. Many folks that follow her don't like any critique of her doing anything wrong. I stand by what I said. It is very strange that the algorithm supports Candace, despite the people that run these platforms being Zionist and the elite. They could suppress or shadow ban her, but they don't. The obvious and fair question is why? Peace and love. You say, why is that relevant? Why are we talking about that? This photo here, I want you all to, we're gonna come back to this photo later in the episode. So this is the photo that I referenced when I was speaking to the ladies in the last live. And I started off the episode with telling people that I found this photo of Laura Loomer and Jack Posobiec, which is extremely important. One of the reasons it's important, once again, we're going to come back to these photos and we're going to talk about them in greater detail, is because I also found that Charlie was doing this hand sign. I already know what the hand sign means. I definitely know what it means in the realm of Hollywood. Why was Charlie making the hand sign? Why is Jack Posobiec making the hand sign? Why is Laura Loomer making the hand sign? Why is Tyler Boyer making the hand sign in the same photo that Charlie Kirk is making the hand sign? Notice that no one ever answers that question, but they pivot. Even if they support the content, they support what I do, they don't have the answer. So they just pivot and go to, man, Charlie did great work. I agree with you. Charlie talked about Jesus Christ. I agree with you. Charlie tried to wake up the masses. I agree with you. Two things can be true at the same time. Charlie was really smart. He could have been president one day. I agree with you. What about this photo I just asked you about, though? We're going to get into why these hand signs are important, and it's not just silly hand signs that don't mean anything, that we need to focus on bigger and greater things. Okay. I'm going to read a comment later in today's episode, but the comment said something because I want to give them their proper credit. I've been saying something similar, but I'm going to quote them because they said it in a way that I wouldn't have been quite able to say as great as them. Matter of fact, I think I'll be able to find it. Here it is. Matter of fact, I'm not going to show it to you yet because it's going to show a photo image of something that I don't want to show you just yet. But the comment, just remember this comment for now. This person says, we need to talk about Charlie. His story is tragic, but let's be real. He ran an organization packed with criminals, money launderers, liars, hypocrites, and fake Christians. He wasn't a saint. Either he had a dark side the public never saw, or he was the most gullible pushover in history. Right? It's just like Trump supporters claiming he's squeaky clean while his entire inner circle, Kash Patel, Pam Bundy, Dan Bongino, people that have been arrested and went to jail and prison for pedophile behavior, not even related to Jeffrey Epstein. By the way, it's other people, folks in his cabinet. That wasn't a part of the quote, but I was adding to it. While his entire inner circle is composed of degenerate con men, the math doesn't check out. Him picking Erica Kirk as well, despite all the red flags about her story and her background. Okay. So I actually didn't realize this was actually the first thing I wanted to share. I actually will now share with you all. Shout out to Stu Peters. Man, I'm collabing with him at some point in time. What is this here? A few days ago, Stu Peters found this, which I found extremely interesting. Dan Flood, head of security for TPUSA, used to be a homoerotic male model. Here he is doing a featured segment called Morning Wood. Do what? Morning what? For on display men. Why was Charlie surrounded by so many degenerate people? As we know, Candace has alluded to the fact that Tyler Boyer has allegedly been into boys and that this was an open secret within the TPUSA walls. But here's the comment that deserves credit. They say we need to talk about Charlie. His story is tragic, but let's be real. He ran an organization packed with criminals, money launderers, liars, hypocrites, and fake Christians. It's a fact, allegedly. He wasn't a saint. Either he had a dark side the public never saw, or he was the most gullible pushover in history. It's just like Trump supporters claiming he's squeaky clean while his entire inner circle is composed of degenerate con men. The math doesn't check out. As you know, Dan Flood was present that day that everything happened with Charlie. Okay. Another person that worked very closely alongside Mr. Charlie Kirk was Benny Johnson. And I want to show you a before and after. Yes, we're going to get to Jack Posobiec, but we have to build up. You have to understand that it's other people that are involved, and it'll help you appreciate the huge red flags and questions about this character, Jack Posobiec, who has been caught lying multiple times on camera over the past week, and he doesn't care. As I told you all on camera before, they don't care about being exposed for lying. They're running games on people. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Let's find this is what Benny Johnson had to say when everything first happened with Charlie, as many of you all have already saw it. And then we're going to do an after the fact. During the preliminary hearing, all of a sudden he sounds completely, not just different, he sounds radically different. The question is, why?
Yes, there is reason for people to believe that this is a professional hit job. John Solomon is an excellent reporter, and Steven Crowder has some leaked information. I want to talk about both. I want to begin by saying that I'm very, very close with Charlie and his team, and here's what I wish to relay to you from them. That there is some considerable evidence that there were state actors involved here. That's it. I don't want to go any further than that. I can't go any further than that. That is what I've been told. It is not like this is exclusive to me necessarily. John Solomon said it last night on Sean Hannity's show. Here we go.
2 hours later.
We're outside of the 4th District Courthouse here in Utah. The Charlie Kirk preliminary murder trial just wrapped. We were there and witnessed everything. And you have to hear this because it was devastating what we watched. And the judge ruled that you can't see the high definition quality video 4K of Tyler Robinson committing the murder of Charlie Kirk. But we saw it, and they played it on giant screens inside of the courthouse. You can see clearly Tyler Robinson's face. You can see crystal clear the license plate number on his vehicle, his movements on the rooftop. You can time it up to when Charlie Kirk was murdered. And what you also couldn't see was what happened inside of the courthouse. Erica Kirk was sobbing in the arms of her mother-in-law, Charlie's mother, Mrs. Kirk. Feet away is Tyler Robinson, pale, sallow, bony, emaciated, staring at the floor the whole time. Twitching and looking straight ahead, refuses to watch the video, refused to make eye contact with the family. Emotional day. The judge played all 20 minutes of the high definition security footage, and the whole courthouse gasped when it was over. It was really tough to watch. The prosecution has a demonstrable, overwhelming case. They said that multiple times. The defense has nothing. They asked minutiae questions about DNA evidence, but the judge was just shooing them along as we get to this 4K video reveal that will eventually be made public. It's already a case that is overwhelming against Tyler Robinson.
There's that overwhelming word. And notice all of a sudden, the state actors and the other people being involved, there's been a hit job. Other things were going on. Other people were involved. There's none of that anymore. Almost makes you wonder, what if nobody just gave him the inside scoop so early? And it was only after the fact that it was like, all right, shut up. This is what's going on. Allegedly. But I don't have to play the rest of what he said. We've seen what he had to say. And we see how his wife, the entire time he's talking, is telling on him. The facial expression. If my wife, my fiance, my girlfriend is looking like this while I'm talking, like she's in a hostage video, like she just wants to expose me, like she's so impressed with how well I can lie with a straight face, with so much conviction in my voice, right? But we got work to do, like I told you all. We have work to do. Let's get this off our screen. And now we're going to go over to Jack Posobiec, because we covered Jack Posobiec. Brian, the auditor, and I covered Jack Posobiec just briefly 6 months ago. And this is in a video on my channel called TPUSA suspicious military ties deeper than you think. All right. So let's click on this video.
Radar contact.
And I believe it's going to be somewhere within the 31-minute mark where we're going to find some things. We're going to just briefly discuss some background things about Mr. Jack Posobiec.
How many times did that come up? Where I said naval admiral, naval this. Jack Posobiec, I think, if I'm not mistaken, was a naval intelligence officer. If I'm not mistaken. I don't know now if I should have not said that and all of a sudden there's going to be...
No, I think he's tied to... Somebody else was telling me the other day that he's tied to... Let's see.
So I just think like it's weird how much naval intelligence sort of stuff comes up.
Is Jack Posobiec ex-military? Yes, Jack Posobiec. Is that how you pronounce his name?
I don't know. I thought it was Posobiec, but I don't
Posobiec. Know. Let's just go with Posobiec. Jack Posobiec is a U.S. military veteran. He served in the United States Naval Reserve as an intelligence officer.
Okay, so yeah.
He enlisted in 2010 and served until 2017. He reached the rank, you ready for this, of lieutenant.
Oh, that I didn't know, or I forgot. Wow.
But it was lieutenant junior grade while in the Navy Reserve, which is an officer rank. During his service, he deployed for roughly 10 months at Guantanamo Bay Naval Base and also worked at the Office of Naval Intelligence in various intelligence roles. As he sits up there, he holds what they call it, a rosary. Yeah. After every event, he holds up a rosary. I don't know, bro. I don't.
So why that came to mind is, again, back to pattern recognition. Why are we seeing a lot of that with these kind of people? These people that feel like there might be more than meets the eye, and then that naval intelligence, it's so kind of what I've always suspected. The awakening I had many years ago was, notice how we make sure to give the CIA a bad rap. I think that's done intentional because now it's like, well, he's not CIA. He's like there's like good guy and bad guy intelligence. CIA, bad guy. Oh, if you found out Didi was CIA, that's it. But if he's naval intelligence, it's good.
Better.
Yeah, it's better. See, and I feel like that's on purpose. Like, because I used to be that guy that was all CIA. And then I started thinking, no, I'm getting duped by this because now I'm only thinking CIA. And then if it's anything else, I'm thinking, oh, well, they're not CIA, And like, I think that's what it is. It's they've created this CIA that's so bad, and they're willing to even sell out the CIA. You won't get banned if you say the CIA killed JFK.
All right.
They want you now saying that because then you focus over here. But why don't we look at, hey, if a guy is to me, intelligence should be problematic, not which division of intelligence, right? Whether it's FBI intelligence, naval intelligence, Army, CIA, NSA, how do they get a pass? Like intelligence.
And Navy, is Navy considered military or is it considered separate? I'm saying that because AI is telling me Jack Posobiec is ex-military and served as a Navy intelligence officer.
I don't want to speak in error then because that's
as if it's like some sort of different, like it's a branch off or something, Let me see.
Because it feels like there's the institution and then the branches underneath: Air Force, Army, Marine Corps, etc. But
exactly, that's the way I would think about it. And what does intelligence mean anyways? Yes, there's a difference. Military, this is a broad umbrella term, exists in every branch. It means an officer whose job is intelligence work within the U.S. military. That's what military intelligence officer means. Navy intelligence is commissioned officer in the U.S. Navy, active or reserve. Focuses on enemy fleets, terrorist networks, foreign military capabilities, geopolitics, affecting U.S. naval operations. And military intelligence officer, Army intelligence officer, okay. So it's an overarching, so it could fall under Navy, falls under military, but it also consists of other types of intelligence officers, including Marine Corps, Army, Air Force, and Space Force.
Yeah, I just think if you wanted us to trust the influencer class, this should be disqualifying, not because that makes them a bad person. They're an extension of the government. So if I'm relying on my influencer class to get to the truth, that's where I start to get suspicious. Like I said, doesn't mean bad, doesn't mean anything. It just means sometimes in life things disqualify you, right? It's just that simple. It's not something on your character. It's just something in your past. And yet we don't see that. Remember Sean Ryan when I was on?
Right.
What did
Which I don't want to get into that. If you want to go and check out that episode, go and check it out. Incredible conversation. I totally agree with everything stated. Put myself up here. Totally agree with everything stated. Incredible conversation. Go and check that video out if you have not seen it as of yet. But yes, Jack Posobiec, I think, in my opinion, should be disqualified because what we tend to do, and by we, I mean us regular folk, right? We tend to see people who are on television, who are being featured in these news clips and who are at these events, and we just assume that they've worked hard to get there. Or if they're on TV, then obviously they went through the proper ranks to get there, because we just want to assume the best in people, right? There's a subconscious about us that we almost allow to take full effect on how we see the world. But if we actually decided to be intentional with our thought processes, right, with what we're paying attention to, then we take a step back and say, wait, who is Jack Posobiec? Who are these people and where did they come from? What makes you qualified, right? Why do you have, once again, I'm going to play it because we need to play it. Why do we have people like Mr. Isaac Cappy, an individual who was deep in Hollywood? Why do we have Isaac Cappy stating that not only Jack Posobiec, but the other person he just so happened to be featured, right, in this photo with, Laura Loomer, who are two, from my understanding, radical Zionists, which is going to be important for something we're going to discuss in just a moment. Why is it that it just so happened to be these two individuals who are in this photo together making these very interesting hand signs that we keep seeing popping up, and nobody can answer why these hand signs continuously pop up? But what they say is stop paying attention to it and let's just focus on the actions of people, when the hand signs are signals to other people that are in the know. And I will prove that by the end of this live. That is not even a debate. Why is it that we have other people like Isaac Cappy saying that these people are, quote, unregistered foreign agents that are evil people?
All over the place. Jack Posobiec, Gabe Hoffman, Mike Cernovich, Laura Loomer. Gabe Hoffman is running ops on people. He is a bad guy, dudes. I look like I've seen a ghost. Yeah, I have. And someone that was very close to me, I'm pretty sure they were just there to infiltrate me. These are really fucking bad people, and I'm beyond pissed. I don't even know how to describe the feeling inside of me. It's bad. It's bad, guys. These people are bad. They tried to set someone up that you know and love. They're fucking evil. These people are evil. These people are evil. They're unregistered foreign agents. Schroeder? No, not Schroeder. Not Schroeder. Oh, boy.
And just real quick, before we get into this clip of Laura Loomer and Jack Posobiec, I want to show you about an event they were involved in some years back that I didn't even know about. I just more recently found out about it, and I thought it was super interesting. Before we get into that clip, I think it's very interesting I think it's very important that I show you all, because I keep mentioning Isaac Cappy, but I haven't really shown you all on my channel in particular the video that many people believe, or one of the videos that many people believe got Isaac Cappy taken out. And I want to show this video so you can, and I've already edited it. I want you to take a listen to the things that Isaac Cappy was saying about people in Hollywood, things that were taking place in Hollywood. And interestingly enough, or perfectly enough, several of the people he's going to mention in this video clip are going to be people that we talk about in today's live, to sort of drive home this full circle as to why it is that you can't take certain things about Jack Posobiec lightly, right? And you have to see them as red flags.
Not personally, but people, I'm ready for it. I'm not suicidal. Am I afraid of something? Should be, because bad things are coming my way. I could assure you of that.
Wow.
The first time Isaac really understood what was going on in the industry was when he was confronted by his best friend known as Seth Green. This is where he admitted he was into pedophilia.
The first time it really hit me was at Seth's. Seth said, we now need to have a talk about chicken. And then he basically admitted that he's a pedophile.
The word chicken has been used as a code word in the WikiLeaks from Hillary Clinton to represent a chicken. In these WikiLeaks, she had stated, with fingers crossed the old rabbit's foot out the box in the attic, I will be sacrificing a chicken in the backyard to Moloch. If you're wondering who Moloch is, he was a deity that was worshipped thousands of years ago and was believed to still be going on today. In order to praise him, they would sacrifice their...
Oh, I'm not going to talk about Tom Hanks either, who is also a... Tom Hanks, folks, is a... There's this girl, Sarah Ruth Ashcraft, on Twitter, who has been accusing Tom Hanks of raping her when she was 13. Her dad sold her to Tom Hanks. She's been accusing him for months and months and months and months and months. He's never addressed it.
Tom Hanks had posted this Instagram picture a couple weeks back. It states, historic Route 66 roadkill? I hope not. This was a clear play on words to predict exactly how Isaac was going to be. It's no coincidence that he was suicided by jumping off of a bridge, as they say, and landing on a highway and being killed by a car.
The higher you go, the more sick it gets. You heard it's cannibals. Yeah, there is cannibalism. Look into Marina Abramovich. If you're just getting started with this stuff, look into Marina Abramovich.
The person who he is referring to is extremely high up in the industry and associated with many famous celebrities. It's clear as day that what she is doing is satanic, but she calls it performance art. She hosts these parties where they do mock human sacrifices. She is also involved with what is known as spirit cooking. It's an occult ancient...
So that is Marina Abramovich. Marina Abramovich, I've spoken about several times on this channel. She's done these public staged performances with Jay-Z and the likes and all these other celebrities, such as what's the lady's name? Lady Gaga, where she makes cakes that look like human bodies and, you know, red liquid that comes out of humans' bodies, and they eat off of these cakes, right? And there's supposed to be different types of rituals, right? Spirit cooking and things of that sort. Again, some of these people that I mentioned are going to come up because it's very relevant to what we're talking about. But that is Isaac Cappy. That is Isaac Cappy's. Those are some of the things that he alleged. And he said multiple times on camera that he was not, he loved his life. Yet these are the things that was stated. And he ended up losing his life. So let's talk a little bit about these two individuals right here. Laura Loomer, Jack Posobiec. Now, Jack Posobiec, for those of you that don't know, was involved in multiple incidents. But for now, we're going to first discuss an incident that took place back in 2017, where he was involved in this protest centered around this production of an updated version of Shakespeare's classic tragedy that was portraying Julius Caesar as a modern political figure or leader who pretty much anybody who watched this play pretty much can tell that they were meaning to make this person resemble President Donald Trump, right? Because in Shakespeare's original play, Julius Caesar was actually taken out by Roman senators who believed that unaliving him would save the Republic from tyranny, right? So the 2017 reenactment kept that storyline, meaning that this Trump-like person, supposedly Julius Caesar, was supposed to be taken out on stage during this scene, right? And I don't find it interesting, but we're going to take a look at this scene, at this play. If I can find the video, I'm going to put this video clip up here. We're going to take a look at exactly what happened here.
Liberty, freedom.
Normalization of political violence against the right. This is unacceptable. You cannot.
Get off the stage.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to pause. We're going to pause.
You are all Goebbels. You are all Nazis like Joseph Goebbels. This is Goebbels. You are all Goebbels. You are inciting terrorists. The blood of Steve Scalise is on your hands. The blood of Steve Scalise is on your hands.
So Jack Posobiec and Laura Loomer decided to attend this event. Now, again, I know that at the time when things are taking place, people think in their brains, oh, these are people that just stand for a cause. And even though if I don't agree with them, I agree with them, they have the right to stand against something. But what I think we need to start doing with people specifically like Jack Posobiec and Laura Loomer that have these very weird backgrounds, people don't really know where they come from. All of a sudden, they're in these high-ranking positions, whether it be in politics or, very close adjacent to a politician. They're in these high-ranking positions in organizations, but nobody really knows their backstory or how they're actually, what makes them credible, right? What makes them worthy of being in these positions? So when they go to these events, you just think, oh, they're just exercising their rights. No, they're causing a scene because they're trying to set a trend in this country. And this is one of the ways that they do it. And one of the things that Jack Posobiec mentioned was this Celeste person. He said the blood of Celeste is on your hands because there was I believe he was a politician or somebody that had lost his life not long before this point, right? I wasn't big into politics at the time, but I did a little bit of research on it. But what's just as important as what they just did at this event, which I don't know what Laura Loomer thought she was supposed to accomplish by simply walking up to the stage and saying, you can't do this up here, reenacting the unaliving of okay, you cannot like it. What is going up there? What is that going to change? It's because that was supposed to do nothing. It's a bigger cause. Okay? It's a bigger cause. Let me show you what that cause is. It's the check out this news link and watch how the news covered this.
You are inciting terrorists. The blood of Steve Scalise is on your hands. The blood of Steve Scalise is on your hands.
Shame on all of you!
The President Trump lookalike was fatally stabbed during a bloody scene. The woman identified as Laura Loomer, a right-wing activist, stormed the stage shouting, "Stop the normalization of political violence against the right."
Controversial Shakespeare in the Park production of Julius Caesar will give its final 2 performances this weekend. Last night, the bigger performances happened off stage as 2 protesters denounced the production.
Saw this play recently. I'm interested. Did you get that this was an interpretation? Was this clearly meant to make a political point? Where's this fall on the spectrum?
Well, I mean, I think clearly they were playing to a very liberal audience, and there was no doubt when the Julius Caesar character came out on stage that this was Donald Trump. No doubt about it. But the one thing that I thought was a little bit overblown is that they had probably 50 or 60 young people as protesters coming up on stage, and it mirrored really similar protests we saw after the election of Donald Trump. This was almost an entire mirror of what happened after that. So clearly, this was a political kind of statement they were making about the election of Donald Trump.
And all right, we'll see where it goes from there. Protests have been as old as art itself. Appreciate your time. Thanks.
The Inside Edition released video that showed a Caesar resembling you-know-who getting, stabbed as he does at the end of Shakespeare's play. Yeah. But, so does this cross the line for people? I mean,
well, they did it for Obama also, using Obama as Julius Caesar, and nobody opened their mouth.
2012, the acting company in New York and Minneapolis, Guthrie Theater, appeared to depict a black guy as Caesar. So everybody said, "Oh my God, Caesar's black. It must be Obama."
Mm-hmm. And as you pointed out, these people on the alt-right have hijacked some of the worst traits of the far left and what they did with this play. Talk about it.
Yeah, I spent my career opposing idiot snowflakery. I go around and I speak at places like Cal State Los Angeles, and there's a near riot there. I go and speak at
as Ben Shapiro speaks, it's important that we note something. If you didn't catch on to what I was saying earlier, if you haven't caught on to it by listening to these news clips, what I meant is the purpose of a Jack Posobiec, the purpose of a Laura Loomer attending these events is because it's all fake. What they're doing is they're setting a precedent and they're drilling it into people's brains that it's us against them, the right versus the left, which is all, once again, people got their, man, you always speak about this. It's because it's real. All of this stuff is Freemasonic in nature, right? The polarity of it. It's always the left versus the right when all of it is corruption. All of it is corruption. But what they do is they take somebody like Jack Posobiec, who wasn't as well known at the time. They'll take a person like him, a Laura Loomer, who wasn't as well known at the time, and they infiltrate, they place these people into these spaces, and they help other regular people. And when I say help, I mean they mold the minds of regular folk who, if you just left us alone, if you just left regular people alone, all we want to do is take care of our families. We want to be safe. We want clean air. We want clean food. We want affordable food, affordable housing, and we just want to live our life. Those of us that are believers, we want to live right by the Most High standards. We want to get our life right with God, and we want to live without anybody intruding or protruding on our life. It's people like this that keep the back and forth going, right? You got a Laura Loomer, who, if Laura Loomer was known the way she is now and she did what she did, a lot of other people will see it for what it is. Like, you're just trying to cause a scene. You're trying to get people to rally behind you. But that early in their movement, right, they're able to do it because they're not as known. So in 2026, we have 2020 vision, if you will. We can look back and we see, oh, these people, they're helping push the lies forward, right? The lie of politics, the lie of protecting the politicians. When all of these people are corrupt, whether it be Trump, Hillary, it doesn't matter. But when you have infiltrators or plants like a Laura Loomer, like a Jack Posobiec, you'll place these people out into the out into the public so that they can blend in like the rest of us. Now you got people having to wait until they elect these people back into office, and then the politician does not keep their word, which is just another cycle. Now people are upset all over again. If people would have knew what Jack Posobiec and Laura Loomer was in 2017, they wouldn't have cared they wouldn't have been surprised what Trump did over the past 2 years. They would have expected it, right? Notice how Ben Shapiro is speaking with the national media left, because as we know, Ben Shapiro has always been a quote unquote never Trumper. Well, in this clip, you're about to see that Ben Shapiro and Laura Loomer, who are almost one and the same, would have argued this 2 years, 3 years ago, that Laura Loomer and Ben Shapiro are definitely one and the same, radical Zionists. But in this clip, as you're going to see, they're actually against each other. Do you see it yet? Do you understand yet? Let's see.
University of Wisconsin, people try to storm the stage, and I've always said this kind of stuff is not free speech when you're trying to censor somebody else's free speech. And then the right does it, and shockingly, there are members of the right, mainstream members of the right, who says, well, you know, this is just turnabout as fair play. Well, no, if it's wrong when the left does it, it's wrong when you do it. And
you were getting bashed all weekend. I saw really not really from the right. It's not the right. They're not conservatives. It's the alt-right.
Well, that's no shock. I mean, the alt-right is not a right-wing movement. The alt-right is basically a grievance movement that is driven in response to the multicultural left, and they are promoting, again, this notion that two wrongs make a right, and that if the left does it, we should do it because that means that we're going to be fighting back against the left. Look, the best way to fight back against things that are bad is to do good things. It is not to do equally bad things in exactly the same way.
Right. On Republican members of Congress last week, Old New York's Shakespeare in the Park continued their production of Julius Caesar, which depicts the killing of a Trump look-alike every single night. Now, the show did close last night as planned, but my next guest felt she had to do something about the depiction of violence against our president. So during Friday evening's performance, Laura Loomer stormed the stage, interrupting the performance, denouncing the depiction of violence against the right. And following the interruption, Loomer was in fact arrested by the NYPD. She joins us now to explain why she did this. Laura, welcome to the program. Thanks for being with us.
So before she speaks, I want you to think about what just happened here. So Laura Loomer, who was virtually unknown at the time, maybe she had a little bit of buzz around her. Laura Loomer, who is supposed to be at this time a nobody, regular person who involved in politics, don't like what she saw, don't stand for violence against politicians, whatever, cool. She just committed a crime. I'm not sure if it is so or not in that state, but most likely a felony. Either way, she committed a crime that may have been a misdemeanor, but it was enough to get her arrested. And she has to go to court and face justice. Why is the news bringing this person on television to talk about it? Think about that. All of it, once again, it's a psyop. These things are meant to place people into position and grow their popularity, right? That's what they're doing, familiarizing people with the likes of a Laura Loomer, so that at a later time she can do something people like, now that they're aware of who she is, and then it just goes from there. Why are you bringing on a quote-unquote criminal? You just watch this lady storm that you're just going to bring on to television? What if all of it was orchestrated beforehand? That is to say, this is what you're going to do. We're going to then bring you on the Fox News. Don't worry about those charges. Don't worry about paying those fines. We'll cover that. You just do your part in rushing that stage. Let's create a moment.
Thanks so much for having me, Sean.
Listen, you knew if you did this, you're putting yourself at risk. You're probably going to be arrested. You were arrested. You are charged. You're going to have to appear in court, but you knew that, right?
Yeah, I knew that would be the consequence.
Why was this then so important to you?
This has been really important to me because the left has systematically and programmatically used free speech and artistic expression as a pretext to incite violence against the right and promote the of President Donald Trump. And that's really problematic. You can see the consequence of this play and just the liberal mainstream media using political violence against the right this past week when Representative Steve Scalise was shot in an attempt on House Republicans. This was, of course, carried out by a liberal who watched MSNBC, was a fan of the liberal mainstream media, and who knows, maybe he was influenced by Kathy Griffin and Julius Caesar.
And by the way, this was nonviolent. And, it's funny because the left has been preaching since Donald Trump got elected, the resistance. And Obama once said, get in their faces. And Biden once talked about taking Trump behind a schoolyard and kicking the crap out of him. Robert De Niro wanted to punch him in the face. Jim Carrey wants to use a golf club on the president. Then we've got ISIS poses and everything else. And then you have, of course, the infamous Madonna. Listen to this.
Yes, I am outraged. Yes, I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
It's so obvious, bro. But I have to remember that a lot of people are new to this type of content. So allow me to just introduce a couple of things to you. So they decided to show Madonna, who's comfortable enough to come out in public on a public platform and talk about blowing up one of the most decorated, the most infamous buildings in the country that not only holds the leader of the free world, but on a any given day, you got regular citizens, U.S. citizens from across the country visiting the White House. Something of, you can almost guarantee your bottom dollar, there's always going to be a human being inside of the White House. Yet this person can come out and publicly say that. Why is that? Because we know who Madonna is. Let's talk a little bit about Madonna. You're going to understand why I started off the episode the way I did, talking about the person that gave me pushback for these photos, right? Let's start with this one. You say, well, it's because Madonna, let me get this off the screen. Oh, I already have it here. You're going to say, well, that's because Madonna is a leftist, right? Of course, she's going to be involved with photos like this. Well, do you understand why she's making this hand symbol? We've spoken about this specifically on Patreon with people like Shannon Sharp, right? P. Diddy. We talked about this with the pastor T.D. Jakes. We talked about this with the country singer Shabuzi, right? And the list goes on. You got people like Madonna who are a part of, she is in the know. Check out that little interesting symbol that she's making in the bottom right corner. Not only is she making this symbol, but she's doing the one-eye symbolism as well, which is all of that is intentional. But let's talk about a bigger one. Let's talk about this one. Because for those out there that are going to say that these photos mean nothing, these people mean nothing, we know that Madonna, let me be responsible, allegedly Madonna worships the Baphomet, right? Allegedly Madonna follows the teachings of Aleister Crowley. Allegedly Madonna is a beta programmed monarch butterfly asset used by Hollywood, right? The point that I'm making is if these photos mean nothing, and I've done deep dives on these people, not Madonna in particular. I've referenced her here and there in different videos, but I've done deep dives on many celebrities and many people in the entertainment industry, which the politicians are entertainers. Believe that. It's the same industry, just a different profession, if you will. Why is she doing the same hand signs as our friends here? Because again, as many of you all are like, I shouldn't say many of you, some of you all like to say these silly hand signs mean nothing. Pay attention. Well, I'm showing you what it is, right? Why is she doing the same hand signs as them? That's the question. We know what Madonna stands for. If you follow her music, if you follow her photo shoots, if you listen to her interviews, she tells you what she stands for. Why is she doing the same hand signs as the rest of these Zionists and these people who all happen to be Zionists, by the way? What should that tell you? Well, I'm going to tell you what it communicates to you here in just a moment. Because Jack Posobiec, once again, has been caught in blatant lies. Let's pull up a couple of clips of some of the most blatant lies that he most recently told. That is just like mind-blowing. So let's first listen to him on, let's start with just Piers Morgan. Jack Posobiec, like I shared before, does not care about being fact-checked. He knows that he's a liar. He's supposed to lie. He's supposed to pivot when he's supposed to pivot. He does not care. That's his job. Here is a perfect side-by-side of what Jack Posobiec is saying today about quote-unquote Pizzagate, as we referenced Hillary Clinton earlier. And we're going to listen to what Jack Posobiec had to say back in 2016, which was coincidentally just 10 years ago.
Were part of that Pizzagate conspiracy theory era. Do you now regret that?
Well, I, for one, I never said that it was true.
Comet Pizza. Here we go.
There it is. Comet Pizza. Comet Pizza's right there. All right, Roosh has already dialed 9 and 1, and then he's ready to dial the last one. So he's all set for me.
Did you ever promote it?
No.
Never?
Wow.
No.
You can see the symbol. Remember the symbol on the FBI list. Do you think this is a good idea or what?
Are we gonna survive this trip?
Do you think we're gonna survive? I don't know.
Should we even eat the pizza?
Do you think the supermoon affects what's going on?
With the satanic rituals.
It could. Their powers could be at their highest.
We went there to have dinner and to show people that it was a regular shop, and I've said that from the very start.
Okay, so it's like a secret door to get into the bathroom. See that? It's like there's two doors here, but you couldn't really tell normally. That there.
I understand that to you this is maybe like a game, but considering that I myself and my staff receive death threats,
it's not a game. Well, you're throwing me out.
I am because you are aiding a dangerous environment.
Jack, hold on a second, Jack. So what you're saying on live television is you have never ever in your entire career promoted the Pizzagate conspiracy. Is that what you're saying on television?
I am saying the exact same thing that I have said since day number one, and I compared it to Iraq WMDs.
And what does that mean?
Well, what do you think? It means they were fake.
So I am putting out the call right now, guys. James O'Keefe, we need you in here. I'm gonna need your help on this one, man. This is an operation that suddenly just got a little bit bigger than just myself. I've been burned. George has been burned. They know what we look like. We need people in here at a higher level. We need to recruit sub-sources to go in here with hidden cameras because we saw
there was a back room.
A secret back room.
People were going in and out of there. There was music. There were kids, little kids.
There were little kids going in and out of this back room.
Apparently, you tweeted claims such as, and they're quoting directly, Pizzagate may be bigger than we suspected. That was just days before a gunman targeted the restaurant.
Congratulations, Jack.
The threat level here is much higher than I thought it would be. The stuff that was going on is much worse than I thought it would be. And we were dealing with some high level stuff here, guys. We were doing some very high level stuff.
I'd have to look at that. I don't recall.
Let's play back that very high level stuff, because to y'all, to the everyday person, sure, we do this innocently, but these people with intelligence backgrounds and high ranking positions in this country, we can't take these people lightly when they're doing it. It's not the same. We are not the same as these people. We are not the same. That hand sign he's doing is intentional, and the point in time that he's doing it is intentional.
Very high level stuff.
I'd have to look at that. I don't recall that. That's on my Twitter.
You can't both
There are people here that have a lot of interests and a lot of money. So they have a big secret that they are trying to hide, and a big secret that they are trying to keep under wraps, because it could potentially blow the lid on Hillary Clinton, on John Podesta, on Tony Podesta.
It was an idea that I had to try to reach out to people who were wondering about this on the internet, to just go there, order some food, sit down with a friend, and show them it was a regular spot.
Guys,
just blatant lies. Says it with a straight face. Blatant lies. Where's the shame, bro? Do you have no pride?
Honestly,
She wants some damn pizza.
I was not sold on the Comet Pizza theory before this.
And then you start seeing kids. You start seeing back rooms and shit.
The kids and the back rooms.
And I'm being honest. That's why I went there.
No, you're not. And the fact that he knows that the video of that he posted is on the internet. Like I said, the internet is forever. Once you post it, it's always on the internet. It can always be recovered. He knows that, and he's still making the conscious decision to come on the internet once again and say the polar opposite and double down in it.
That's why I went in, to show people that it was a regular place.
This was crazy. This was really weird. This was really weird. Yeah. This was like next level stuff.
Yeah. So let's go a step further with Mr. Jack Posobiec. Many of you all may not know about this, but there was a movement that took place many years ago, once again, pertaining to Trump. Now, I just showed you all because this is important to say as well. As a reminder, we have almost 1,000 people in here. Please hit the like button. Goes a long way. I really appreciate it. So I've told you all before that Black Lives Matter was a psyop. I know we've used that word so much that I almost don't even want to use it anymore, but it's true. That's what should matter. It was a psyop. All of it was a psyop. What do you mean a psyop, Didi? Do Black Lives Matter? Like the slogan itself, duh. But what they did was, like they always do, they find things to tug at the heartstrings of a group of people. They become hell-bent on it. They convince people to focus on that, to adhere to whatever decisions that group or that organization that will sort of become birth or be birthed from this movement. Whatever they push, the people will adhere to it. There's a reason why I've spoken about this before as well on Patreon in my Kobe Bryant Sacrifice Chronicles #1 video that I dropped a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Time is flying. It is not a coincidence that Charlie Kirk, Kobe Bryant, George Floyd all have something in common, or they're all intertwined, interconnected some way. What is the #1 thing they have in common? Three different worlds. One of them wasn't even famous. One of them was in sports. One of them was in politics, right? One of them is white. The other is black. The other's born in Italy. Like it's all over the place, right? One was a drug addict. Charlie Kirk, George Floyd share the same birthday. That's a coincidence. Cool. George Floyd, Kobe Bryant passed away the same year. What's the one thing all three of them have in common? Each one of their deaths, supposedly alleged deaths, shook the world and or the country in a way that is undeniable and catastrophic to the well-being of many people in this country. What do I mean by that? When Kobe Bryant supposedly passed away January 26, 2020, many people felt like they lost a close family member. Many people felt like their world stopped. Many people didn't want to go to work. They worshiped this man to that point where just knowing or believing that this person was alive, a person you will never meet in your life, you felt okay. But when he passed away in the way that he supposedly passed away, along with his daughter, who we're about to speak about, that impacted you. George Floyd, the world didn't even know who he was before. Only, and I do mean only because of the help of media. The way that they pushed George Floyd, you say, well, no, that would have organically helped. No, it wouldn't have. The country and the world would not have rallied behind what happened to George Floyd to the extent that they did without the help of media. The world rallied behind and felt the impact of George Floyd's passing in 2020, just like they had with Kobe Bryant. Do I even need to explain what happened after Charlie was supposedly taken out? Same impact, 3 different people. I told you the connection between Charlie and George Floyd. I told you the connection between George Floyd and Kobe. What's the connection between Kobe and Charlie? Well, Charlie supposedly has a daughter named Gigi. Kobe Bryant supposedly passed away with his daughter Gigi. We've spoken about the significance of Gigi on Patreon, on my exclusive video, and how it ties to Luka Doncic, who later became a Laker. He wears the number 77. 7 is the 7th letter in the alphabet. Gigi, 77. The significance of the number 77 comes out, believe it or not, to 666. Yes, it does. It goes back to that hand sign that we've been showing earlier, but we're going to get to that here in just a moment. 77 is 2/3 of 777. Earlier, I mentioned Aleister Crowley. I will mention Aleister Crowley later in this video as well. 77 is 2/3 of 777. Aleister Crowley, one of the most influential black magicians, occultists, self-proclaimed most wicked man in the world from the early 20th century, wrote a book about the significance of 777. What is the other significance of the term Gigi? We know the significance of the G when it comes to Freemasonry. Well, G is also the 3rd letter in the Greek alphabet. So that means that if G equals 3, well, there you have it. 33. Huh. Hmm. Well, isn't that interesting? I went on a tangent. Earlier, I showed you all a clip of Laura Loomer, Jack Posobiec, sort of quote unquote protesting a 2017 play of them reenacting Julius Caesar dressed as Donald Trump being taken out by, I guess at the time, the Roman senators. In this particular case, it would have been American politicians. They protested this in support of Trump. Remember when I talked about duality? Remember when I talked about playing both sides, controlled opposition? Well, I'm about to show you how they also play a role with the left. and he doesn't even deny it. Jack Posobiec was exposed as being behind a movement that appeared to be against not only Donald Trump, but also Donald Trump's Melania Trump. But let's sort of prove that. Shout out to, don't really care for their politics, but shout out to the Young Turks. We're gonna play that. But first, let me show you all the way in which Jack Posobiec was blinking. Look at this blinking.
Compared it to Benghazi.
They say, Jack, that you.
Let's see if you can count the amount of times that he blinks in the span of maybe 5 seconds, maybe 6 or 7 seconds. Why did he blink so much here?
Also compared it to Benghazi.
They say, Jack, that you on X apparently you tweeted claims such as, and they're quoting directly, "Pizzagate may be bigger than we suspected." That was just days before a gunman targeted the restaurant.
Let's run that back. Are you malfunctioning, bro?
Also compared it to Benghazi.
They say, Jack, that you on X apparently you tweeted claims such as, and they're quoting directly, "Pizzagate may be bigger than we suspected." That was just days before a gunman targeted the restaurant.
Congratulations, Jack.
I'd have to look at that. I don't recall that. That's on my.
After you blinked like 47 times in 5 seconds, you don't recall that?
Also compared it to Benghazi.
They say, Jack, that you on X apparently you tweeted claims such as, and they're quoting directly, "Pizzagate may be bigger than we suspected."
So, okay, that was interesting. Now let's go and take a look at Jack Posobiec playing the other side.
After the general election, there was a photo that circulated the internet and went viral. It was a disgusting photo featuring an individual holding a sign that read Melania. So let's take a look at that photo. And many on the internet were under the impression that the person holding that sign was actually a liberal, because that protest that you're looking at right now was a liberal protest of Donald Trump's election. So interestingly enough, there was a bit of an investigation into this to kind of figure out whether or not that was really a liberal protester, or if it was someone who intentionally went there with the sign to make these protesters seem as though they're violent people. Well, there was an investigation. Here's what BuzzFeed found. It was the brainchild of a group of Trump supporters, actually, led by this guy named Jack Posobiec, one of the organizers of the controversial Deplorable inauguration party and a prominent figure in the pro-Trump internet. Okay, so at first when I read this, I was like, how do they know for sure, right? It's not unheard of for stuff like that to happen. There's some serious proof here. So furthermore, as shown by a series of Posobiec's text messages obtained by BuzzFeed News and confirmed by a source who actually collaborated with him, the sign was the culmination of a disinformation campaign by Posobiec and others intended to paint the anti-Trump rallies as violent and out of control. So BuzzFeed News reviewed the text on a source's iPhone in Signal, the secure texting app, and the Signal messages allegedly from Posobiec came from the same phone number on which BuzzFeed News talked to Posobiec. So same phone number. And Posobiec told BuzzFeed News, no, the screenshots of those messages must be photoshopped. But no, they actually looked at the physical text messages themselves. So let me give you a taste of what these text messages said. So Posobiec had apparently texted to the person who outed him, took a page out of your book. I kept yelling, "Assassinate Trump," until someone repeated it and got them on tape. So the whole idea is to show up there and try to like rile people up and get like one person to say something questionable, film them and put it out on the internet. Now in the same text message conversation, he and his collaborator actually brainstormed other incendiary things to chant, including Melania. Okay, so here's some more proof for you. Fuck Melania Trump is what he proposed that the sign would say. And then the person said, too subtle, Melania is better. And he's like, ooh, I should turn around. And then they're planning to protest the Trump Hotel today at 3:30 and then the Capitol later, coming with And the person basically wrote, sorry, phone's all weird and didn't show signal or SIG notifications. What's the mission plan? And here's what he said: to discredit them, infiltrate them with bad signs. And that's essentially what happened. And by the way, one of his former friends, the same type of person who is a Trump supporter, part of the deplorables and all that other stuff, outed him on Twitter. Okay, so Based Alaska.
He's known as Baked Alaska. I know it's confusing because his Twitter handle is Based
Alaska, right. He tweeted the following: I have a question. Your organizer, Jack, was the one who made the Melania sign. Do you support this behavior? What did Jack Posobiec have to say about all of this? Well, he tweeted in response to the BuzzFeed investigation, and he said, when people who lost their home states very, very badly try to stir up drama about what I did during the election, much sad, or much jelly, sad. Yeah.
So he's not denying it.
He's not denying it.
Yeah, he's not denying it. So here we have him basically admitting, much like I expect him to probably do to some extent with the lies that he's being caught in 2026, to being behind a movement to sort of force, not only stir up frustration and chaos, an agent of chaos, to stir up chaos, but he's pretending to be somebody of the left, which I've been saying for the longest. That's what Black Lives Matter was. It wasn't just radical leftists. I believe a lot of them are unreasonable and outrageous and irrational, absolutely. But many of those people are plants. And I don't mean just Antifa. I'm saying it was other people that infiltrated the movement, was out there bombing and tearing up buildings to cause chaos and mayhem. So now the rhetoric can be pushed that the left is this, and the right can have sort of a footing to sort of hit the gas and be more inspired and determined to get back into office, right? When all of it is a circus, right? And many of these characters are clowns. Jack Posobiec is a clown. He's a quote unquote Fed. He's an agent. That's what it's about, right? So let's play. Speaking of those lies, let's play one of let's see here. This is Jack Posobiec on Megyn Kelly show, which I already spoke about this, but just take a listen.
Reaction to your reporting, because you came out on Friday, you and I were texting, you posted online, and you gave an interview to Charlie's old colleagues at Turning Point, Andrew and Blake, and immediately we had like backlash. It was strange, Jack. It
was strange. She's speaking as if she knows for certain what's true and what's not. Why do you think the backlash would come, Megyn? But Megyn already knows the answer to this.
Backlash to your reporting. There's a podcaster named Brandy Siciliani who posted the following on X. I was in the courtroom today. There is no high-quality zoomed-in footage showing anyone taking a shot. The video shown is the same distance as the footage of, quote, Tyler, his name is in quotes, jumping off the roof, shown in this screenshot. I have no idea why people are claiming otherwise. They know the video isn't going to be released publicly, so they're misrepresenting what was actually shown in court. And then she takes aim at Benny, who is also there, Benny Johnson. Benny is making it seem like there's a 4K quality video of Tyler pulling the trigger, and we all know that is absolutely not true. So what did you make of her and some others taking issue with your testimonial?
Well, what's amazing is the fact that we have this video at all, and if people are going to split hairs over whether or not we can actually see a finger, in the trigger well and pulling the trigger, I mean, you've completely lost the plot at this point.
Notice that he didn't call them a liar. Second of all, that's a straw man. That's not what they said. They said that the video didn't exist, buddy. They didn't argue about if we can see fingers or not, and I've already argued this in the past. They're saying that the video you say exists does not exist. The video that you and Benny and Officer Tatum and all the likes, Graham Allen, all these weird people, plants, agents, right? Propagandists, they're saying it didn't exist. Unfortunately for you all, they allow 14 people from the general public to attend this trial as well, unless there was too many members of the family of either side to prevent the public from joining. In this case, there wasn't. So you're being accused of lying, dude. Not if you got the details of the video or if it's subjective or not. They're saying that you're lying. That's a big difference. Right? He said you missed the plot. He didn't call them a liar, though. So let me get to another point here. I want to sort of get to the biggest part of the video I really want to get to. So where do I want to start? Let's start with this. We're going to start with shout out to Ali Fowles. I want to read something to you all. Ali Fowles found something a while back, and I thought this was incredible. I just came across it. All righty, let's zoom in if we can. So it says here, His Majesty King Oscar II of Sweden was initiated into Freemasonry in December. Appointed Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of Sweden in 1859, made a past Grand Master of England. He initiated the then Prince of Wales, now King Edward VII, into Freemasonry at Stockholm. Okay. Maybe this will clear up some of the controversy of the Medallion Knights of Malta definitely having a connection with the Knights Templar via the Crusades. That's a fact. The Knights and Masons have a connection. That's a fact too. If you don't believe that and you believe it's connected to the Swedish Order of Polar Star, that's okay. And that leads right back to the Masons as well. Both of these angles lead back to the Masons. And remember, Charlie was called a builder by Trump and Erica, and is so busy building these days, which she said, which was not a coincidence. So here's the and I believe I have the photo. Let me see here. Let me look at my I thought I took a screenshot of this. I guess I didn't. But let me screenshot this so you all can see the medallion a little bit closer that she is talking about here. And there's a reason why we're talking about this. And everything she just stated is public information about this person, by the way. So let's first pull this up. So here's the photo a lot closest for you all to see. Let me get this banner out of the way. His Majesty King Oscar II of Sweden. And the medallion here is eeringly similar to the medallion that Erica Kirk is wearing. Now, it's really, really important to state this. I have covered in the past many things about Erica as well, including more recently in the last week or two, my beliefs of her obvious connection to Freemasonry. Not just her directly, but the people that's around her as well. But there's enough content on Erica alone. There's a video called Why I Believe That the 2025 AmFest was a Freemasonic ritual, right? I would highly encourage you all. That's also a live video. If I could remember after this live ends, I'll try to link it in the description if I remember. All right. That's relevant. That's very relevant for multiple reasons. All right. But I want to show you all, because I can't take credit for this, something very, very interesting that they found in the freaking comment section of that post. And I was like, whoa. So the first thing is say hello to Bobby and Matt Harpo. Brian Harpo's dad and brother. Now, would you look at that? Would you look at that? And we already proved before, as you see the big G in the very back. We've already proven before on Patreon, more recently, also in the Kobe Bryant video, George Floyd's connection to Freemasonry. Undeniable connection to Freemasonry. It's not even close. 100% he was surrounded by Freemasons, quite a few of them. I'm only being responsible by not calling him a Freemason directly on YouTube, but we're just going to say it's undeniable that he was surrounded by people he was extremely close to, brothers with, that were Freemasons, that are Freemasons. That's extremely important. Okay. But let's keep going. Check this out. Do y'all see it? Does anybody see it? Let me know in the chat if you see it. I'm going to put it on the screen. Let me know in the chat when you see it. Bingo. Bingo. This was the event where she accepted an award on behalf of Charlie, for those of you that don't know or don't see, didn't see it. Square and compass design. We all see it. All right. Okay. Okay. Somebody asked, did she win the award? She didn't win an award, but they gave an award on behalf of Charlie. And many of us at the time was questioning why it is that Charlie's parents didn't accept it on his behalf, which makes all of this all the more weird. But yeah. So there's that. All right. Okay. That is crazy. Because there is no denying that. Well, we just spoke about the Knights Templar, and we also just spoke about Freemasonry. We spoke about Aleister Crowley, and we spoke about hand signs. Now, let's tie it in for those that say, well, maybe people like Jack Posobiec, this is still innocent. They're still saying that this is innocent. They're still kind of confused and saying, as I just saw in the comment section, Charlie was gullible. But as I stated at the very beginning, what did the person say? They said, we need to talk about Charlie. His story is tragic. Here, let me make sure I don't butcher this comment. His story is tragic, but let's be real. He ran an organization packed with criminals, money launderers, liars, hypocrites, and fake Christians. He wasn't a saint. Either he had a dark side the public never saw, or he was the most gullible pushover in history. I just have questions. I just have questions. All right. I know people don't like it when you say that, but that's just the truth. I have questions because some things are not making sense. The math is not mathing, as we see the duality in this picture with the black and white, and they just so happen to be throwing a thought. The only thing that would make sense is if this is AI. And I've checked. I have no reason to believe this is AI. What does the hand signs mean? Well, let's make it. Let's connect all of it. Let's make it full circle. So I think everybody know who these two individuals are, and I don't think you need me to tell you who these two individual people are. But just in case you need me to, this is the one and only Beyonce, who seems to never ever wear her real hair. Even though most men prefer natural everything, not just hair, but everything. But that's a conversation for another day. I don't think I would have to go through or jump through as many hurdles to convince people that the hand signs that Beyonce and Jay-Z are throwing up, that they're not innocent, so to speak. They're not baseless, so to speak. Right? I don't think I would have to jump through many hurdles to convince you that these hand signs that look just eerily creepy from Madonna are pointless. You got white people doing it, black people doing it, musicians doing it, politicians doing it. But it's only when the people that you like are doing it, or partially like, or they're affiliated with people that you like, that I have to go through all these hurdles to get you to see it. Well, let's talk a little bit about Mr. Jay-Z and Mrs. Beyonce. But particularly Jay-Z, as we already said, he worked with Marina Abramovich. And then, of course, there's I've shared this a ton of times. I don't mean to keep sharing it, but there's an infamous picture right here of, let me go back. So there's an infamous picture of Jay-Z wearing a shirt that says, do what thou wilt. But in fairness to Jay-Z, many people have come out and told me that this picture is actually Photoshop. So I don't know if this is real or not, but as we know, do what thou wilt is the infamous saying from the one and only Aleister Crowley. And when I say one and only, he's not special by any means. I just mean the one and only because these people love the guy. And only because I want to make sure that I'm being thorough, I will believe that you all know who it is if you follow the channel. But Aleister Crowley, this is what he looked like. Or at least this is one of the pictures of Aleister Crowley. And let me see if I can find another replacement. Because I also want to show you that his 777 book and what it was called. Okay. There it is right there, 777 and other Kabbalistic writings of Aleister Crowley. We just covered that on Patreon. The last thing I'm going to show you all is the 777, meaning what it says here. I could have sworn I just removed it. Sheesh, man. So annoying. Says here, Aleister Crowley viewed 777 as the supreme numerical key to unifying all world religions, mythologies, and magical systems. He famously used it as the title of his definitive grimoire, 777, and other Kabbalistic writings, as I just showed you all. All right. Well, let's pull up an image of Mr. Jay-Z, and I'm going to show you why it's important. This is an infamous photo of Jay-Z many years ago on stage, and as you all can see here, let me make this full screen. As you all can see here, he's wearing this necklace, which I thought was not only very blatant, but it was very obvious. And I said, yo, I have to talk about this because we'll make this full circle, because these people, the purpose of me sharing this stuff that I'm about to share about Jay-Z is to say, if they're in the same picture, if they're in pictures doing the same hand signs, and I'm proving to you that all of these people are blatantly obvious about what they worship, what they believe in, what they participate in, why are we making exceptions for some of these other people? Right? Because if we want to be surface level, many people say God. What God are they talking about? So this right here is Jay-Z wearing something known as the Cross of Lorraine, right? And it's basically known for like Hermetic worship or Hermeticism. And we've spoken about this with Kanye West and other people in the industry who just so happen to be tied to Jay-Z, by the way. But in my most recent video about Kanye in the last 2 or 3 months, we talked about Hermeticism and Gnosticism when it comes to Kanye West. And Hermeticism in particular is for the god Hermes, which is a Greek god. And remember, the reason why this is important is because earlier we spoke about Erica Kirk and Kobe Bryant having a daughter named Gigi, being that G is the third letter in the Greek alphabet, right? Which matters. And another name for Hermes, for those of you that don't know, is the man Cush. Those of you that are believers, follow the scriptures. Cush is the man who taught mankind the principles of what's known today as Luciferianism. You hear me use that term quite a bit on Patreon. And he taught the principles, some of the principles of what people know today to be Luciferianism after the flood in the Bible in the times of Noah. So this cross right here that you see Jay-Z wearing was popularized in Europe during the Crusades by the Knights of Templars. And we just read the article from Ali Files about the Knights of Templars. And for those of you that don't know, the Knights of Templars, which by the way was a group of black men, the Crusades in particular, though, was a series of wars that took place to, quote unquote, take back the Holy Land, known as, we know the name of that one foreign nation, right? That Charlie seemed to really love. So the Crusades was basically a series of wars to take place. It was pretty much over the Holy Land, right? But in the process of these wars, the Knights of Templars, once again, which is a black group of black men, stumbled upon many occult practices that were taking place and brought it back to Europe. And one of them, that being one of those occultic practices that they stumbled across in the midst of these wars that were taking place, was known as Hermeticism, which is the worship of the quote unquote Baphomet, the goat god, the hermit, hermaphrodite god. There's a lot of different names that it goes by. Pan, right? Again, this is what I typically talk about on Patreon, right? But they also, for the record, they also brought and introduced the banking system. I want to make sure that we talk about that because a lot of people don't talk about that part. They also brought or introduced, especially in the Western world, the banking system and something called usury. Many of you all know what usury is, but for those of you that don't know, usury is essentially borrowing with interest, which in the scriptures, you're not supposed to do that. That's forbidden. But as we know, a lot of these people don't care, or they do care what the scripture says, and they intentionally make the decision to do the opposite, right? So that's sort of the history of this symbol here, and something I wanted to talk about too. I'll show you. I want to make sure I still have this picture. Let me see. Where's the picture at? Boom. And it's also the symbol for Douce, which is tied to Jay-Z once again. Douce. Pretty sure this is his quote unquote his cologne, his liquor, his brand of liquor. The Douce, as you see, the same sign is on the bottle of liquor as well. Here's a box, which I thought this was interesting because if you pay close attention to the Douce, it says Jay-Z 30, but right above the Y, you see the E's, the double E's, which we talked about the double E's in the past. Why is that important? Because double E is the same thing as 33. If you turn two E's around, it will show 33. All right. So that is what you're seeing here. But let me see if I can find that photo of Mr. Yeah, here it is. So just so we're on the same page, again, y'all just be patient. I'm trying to figure out how to put these photos up here pretty fast. So our good old buddy right here, Aleister Crowley, for those of you that don't know, Hermeticism, it was actually rejuvenated in the early 20th century by Aleister Crowley, right? And Aleister Crowley was, and we've spoken about this in so many videos, from my what's his name, XXXTentacion video. We talked about this with Michael Jackson. We've spoken about this with I mean, so many people in the entertainment industry. I mean, it's blatantly obvious. What's his name? The freaking guy that's signed to the same label as Kendrick Lamar. We've spoken about Aleister Crowley with Kendrick Lamar. Shoot, his name can never come to me. He titled his entire album called "Do What Thou Wilt" after Aleister Crowley. But Aleister Crowley started an organization called OTO, Ordo Templo Ordi. I'm going to mess up the last name, but it's something like that. But before that, he was actually a part of this occult organization called the Golden Dawn. And Aleister Crowley, for those of you that don't know him, this is actually relevant because I've made these references over the years. But Aleister Crowley was actually taught by a woman named Madame Levinsky, right? Madame Levinsky, and she also taught others like Frank Baum. We've spoken about that before. He wrote The Wizard of Oz. And in my video about the Wicked, the movie Wicked, with the I can't remember the names, but the movie that came out, I believe, last year, we spoke about Frank Baum, who followed and was taught by Madame Levinsky, who also taught Aleister Crowley. Madame Levinsky also taught the guy who wrote The Wizard of Oz, also the guy who wrote Alice in Wonderland, and also even the guy who wrote the story of Peter Pan, which, as many of us should know by now, first and foremost, the name Pan stems back to, ancient Kemet and things of that sort. And Peter Pan, the story of Peter Pan was the celebration of pedophile behavior, undoubtedly, right? So the what I'm getting at is these people that's throwing up these hand signs, it's all one and the same. It's all one and the same. But there's something else I want to show you all. I'm going to show you all how blatant these people are. I was looking at some old footage of Jay-Z at a basketball game one time, and they panned the camera on Jay-Z, and I want you to see what Jay-Z decided to do, but he knew the camera was going to be on him. He's going to point at something. I want you to pay attention to how he's going to tell you who his God is and what he worships, because nobody naturally points this way. Right? Let me find the footage.
The NBA's Rookie of the Year, Karl Anthony Towns of the Timberwolves, Indians manager Terry Francona, our own Tracy McGrady, your former player Jeff, crazy basketball fan Jamie Foxx, and huge defense.
Did you see it?
Francona, our own Tracy McGrady, your former player Jeff, crazy basketball fan Jamie.
Nobody points like that. He knew that the camera would be on him as he's in his all black, and he points pointing one direction. Miss Beyonce, who we just saw in the photo with Jay-Z, and there are several photos of them and showing up and showing their allegiance. Who points like that? And she's looking like, who? Where? Huh? Nobody points like that. You say, well, maybe he didn't. It ain't no maybe nothing. They're showing you right here. Nobody points like that. Let's see it again.
Serena, the NBA's Rookie of the Year, Karl Anthony Towns of the Timberwolves, Indians manager Terry Francona, our own Tracy McGrady, your former player Jeff, crazy basketball fan Jamie Foxx, and huge defense. Francona, our own Tracy McGrady, your former player Jeff, crazy basketball fan Jamie.
Nobody points like that ever in life. What is he doing here? He's showing you that his God is Pan. He worships the Baphomet, allegedly. All right? But I don't think I need to convince you all of Jay-Z. I think that's super believable for majority of you. I think that's easy for you to settle upon. But something I do want you to focus on is look at the designs beside and behind Jay-Z and Beyonce's name. Do you see the designs behind their names? Does that look familiar? Does that look like anything we just got finished looking at? All right. Does that look familiar? What an interesting design. What an interesting design. All right. The purpose of today's episode is to show you that these people are feds, or that's the safe name that people have been using. These people are not like us. These people are not everyday people that just want the best for the country. They have roles to play. These people are characters. I believe that. Allegedly. These people are characters. Right? They're going to, even if they have to play like they're against each other temporarily. Laura Loomer and Ben Shapiro couldn't be more closely aligned today, in my opinion, than ever. But back in 2017, they shared some pretty harsh differences on Donald Trump. How convenient. How convenient. And somehow all these people are around Charlie Kirk. As smart and as sharp as Charlie Kirk was, it's becoming harder and harder for anybody to defend how he's around these people and he didn't know. All right. The purpose of today's video is to show you that it's not a coincidence that these people are all engaged in many of the same things. The hand signs are indicators, right? It's indicative of something else. It's not that I'm hell-bent and I think it's the end-all be-all. You start and finish with hand signs. No. We are human beings, and many ways that we communicate is not just verbally, but also non-verbally. People show their allegiance. Part of their religion, they have to tell you who they are. They have to tell you what they're going to do. And all these suspicious characters just so happen to be around Charlie Kirk. Right? So there's that. All right, y'all. I'm tired, man. Let's get to some super chats. Shout out to Miss Elaine. I haven't caught my many lives lately due to moving out of town, but I'm still here for sure. Take your time, do your thing. I always appreciate your support. Whenever you're able to make it back, we'll be here by the grace of God. Safe travels. Be careful moving for sure. And thank you for being a member for 10 months. It's dope. Ms. Gina, thank you so much, Ms. Gina, for tuning in. And thank you for the $10 super chat. Hi, Didi. I'll say it again and again. I think Charlie Kirk was in on it to keep himself safe, and they took him out anyway. And most folks at TPUSA think it was fake, and that he's alive and well somewhere. Gina's brilliant. I'm just being real. She's brilliant, bro, because she said that many times on the show, and every time she says it, it's kind of hard to argue against it for anybody, in my opinion. Yep. Shout out to the new members. Thank you, Arwin Perea, for the $10. Dan Flood is a sick man. Yeah, that was disgusting. It was disgusting. I'm pretty sure he's Jayish, if I remember correctly. That is to say, I don't think he's a Christian. Thank you for the $10. Thank you for the $10 again. Looks like they are all being taken to the quote unquote next level. Even Nick Fuentes, all far gone. Yeah, if these people have that, I've been saying like it's just that type of reach is there's things that come with it, in my opinion. Nick Fuentes confuses people because he's been streaming about this foreign nation and the psyops that they've infiltrated on the people, including 9/11, this, that, and the third. But then when it comes to the Charlie thing, much like Andrew Wilson, all of a sudden that goes out the window. people are trying to fathom how, because they have a role to play, and I think these people are taking orders. Thank you for the $10. Dan Flood connected to Chelsea Handler. Chandler connected to Jeff Einstein. Yeah. Yeah. That reminds me, it was something I was supposed to connect to that. I just don't remember what it was. Dang, I'll remember at some point. I'll remember. Both from A. Jones, Posobiec, and Loomer. Yeah. Groomed and primed to control ops. Thank you for the $7. Yeah. 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 And it's so obvious because one of the things when I first got into politics, I was trying to make sense of. I was like, how can people come on TV blatantly lie, blatantly say something that's clearly a rage baiting hot take and keep a straight face, be able to sleep at night, come back, they look well rested? It's because they're not stressed. They got a job to do. All right. They have a job to do. Thank you for the $10, Miss Lane. Appreciate you. Q called it a movie. Does Q mean that one foreign nation? Manufactured martyrs. Right. 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 Do those triangles indicate true gender pre-op? I spoke about this in my Shannon Sharp series, which I dropped 2 or 3 parts to on Patreon. The triangle can mean different things. It depends on how the triangle is being used. So if you take an upwards triangle and a upside down triangle and you bring it together, have you ever seen that? You know what that makes? Because I don't want to say too much on YouTube. It comes together to form a symbol, and it's the coming together of polar opposites, right? Triangle can mean water. It can mean the feminine, which explains the freaking photo I just took down. Like, so for example, here, I'll demonstrate. So I'm pretty sure that the downward triangle represents, here, I'll just put it back up here if it goes. So this here, of course. So this here is, as you can see, obviously, it's a blatant upside down triangle, right? You can look at that as the feminine, the divine feminine, right? And the upward triangle is considered the masculine. The bring it together is that of opposites. Again, I'm trying to be careful with how I talk about that stuff on YouTube. YouTube, it's weird with that stuff. Thank you, Gina, for the $20. They harvest our negative emotions and keep us divided. 2020 was one of the best examples of my lifetime, if not the best example of my lifetime. You had Kobe, you had COVID, you had Breonna Taylor, you had George Floyd, you had riots, you had the shutdowns, you had all sorts of stuff happening, right? A lot of that stuff is manufactured. They even manufacture the reactions in public. If it's not chaotic enough, they will make it chaotic enough so that you know that this is the direction it needs to be headed. Allegedly. Thank you, Gina, for the $10. I don't think Megan knows. She has people behind the scenes getting info for her without researching it herself. It's sad, really. They're being paid by those people, in my opinion. She's not this stupid. I get it, and I know people want to give Megan the benefit of the doubt. Part of the reason is because Megan was the person to tell us that he was sort of turning against that pro-foreign nation cause. I have an entire video on Megyn Kelly. Anybody of that level, I don't know. I don't know, Gina. I'm still sitting on this one with Megan. She flip-flops for me. The lack of common sense on her end is just too blatant for me. I'll admit if I know something. I'll admit if I don't know something. I'll admit if I'm still sitting on it. I need to still sit with Megan. But my gut is telling me I don't trust her. Definitely do not trust her. 100% don't trust her. Dude, this is fire. Thank you for the $2, and I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Candace Owens, thank you for the $7. Candace Owens had relaxed hands during the Sean Ryan show, but seemed to sit with prism fingers while talking of Freemasons' thoughts. Well, I know a lot of people tell me that Candace throws up the 666 when speaking, and that's something I've went back and forth with. I still don't know how I feel about it because Candace has shared a lot about Freemasonry, which I appreciate, but she got to know about these hand signs that celebrities are doing and entertainers are doing and politicians are doing that they're required to do. Many of these people are required to show their allegiance. But the Sean Ryan interview, I haven't seen yet. I had the thought of trying to go over that with y'all. I don't know. I might watch that. I got about a 3-hour drive ahead of me today. So I might just listen to that today to see if I see anything I want to talk about. If there's a certain timestamp you want me to specifically get to, because it's a 4-hour interview, just let me know. And maybe I can look into that. Shout out to Gina. Thank you for the $20. Thanks, Didi. I have to leave early, but I'll rewatch. Appreciate your work so much. Hope to see you live again soon. Take care. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, as always. Shout out to Gina, one of my biggest supporters on YouTube and Patreon. Candace Owens also did Prism Hands yesterday, episode 361, while explaining about a hospital source. Does this mean something? I'd have to take a look. Like, again, I'm going to need timestamps. I didn't watch her show. I haven't watched her last 2 shows. I didn't watch the one, maybe the last one, and I watched the one before. I didn't watch the one yesterday, though. Again, I don't always have time. Like, if I have time, Candace is probably the first person I'm going to watch because she does great work. They drop a lot of information, but I also watch it with different eyes than the average person. A lot of people watch Candace because they only look for information to confirm or affirm what they're already thinking or to add to their investigation catalog, if you will. But I look for other reasons. I look for that reason too, but I look for other reasons too as well. What am I doing? Let me get this off my screen. Thank you for the $5. I like to believe I have very good intuition, and it just clicked in my head. The reason why they could lie so easy and seem to have no empathy or integrity. Were you gonna finish that? Okay. Because they're all actors and Kirk's not even gone. He just got moved to a different role. This world is a stage and we all got to play our part. And I think we're just the cattle. We're the audience. We're the sheeple. I believe that. I can't wait for Megyn Kelly. I can't wait for the Megyn Kelly one. Nobody seems to touch her. Oh, no. I've already dropped the Megyn Kelly one. What I'm saying is I've made a video on Megyn Kelly. Here, I'll show you. Even down to just the symbol. Look at Megyn Kelly's logo for her show. Who chooses a red M, specifically that font and design style of an M for her show? It's like nobody knows about Freemasonry and Masonry. Everybody knows about it, rather, except the celebrities, except the super popular. I find that odd. Let's do it here. Boom. Let's go find it. Look, there's us. All right. Videos. Where you at, Megyn Kelly? Megyn Kelly. It should be close. She's somewhere in here. Have I passed her already? I don't think so. Huh. Did I go that far back? I covered this over 6 months ago? No, I didn't. Did I? I did. Dang, I covered her 8 months ago. That's crazy. Do you see it here in the far right? I can get that off the screen. Yeah, there it is right there. Exposing Megyn Kelly after her crazy Candace Owens take. Yeah, go and check that out when you get a chance. Heck yeah. Yeah, man. All right, y'all. I'm gonna get up off of here, man. I'm tired. I got a long drive ahead of me. Wish me safe travels. Blessings to everybody. Pray for everybody mentioned in today's live, including Jack Posobiec. I am gonna get my butt up off of here and try to get a little bit of rest before I gotta get on this road. But as always, man, pray for everybody mentioned as I stated. I'm gonna catch you all in the next one. I'm Demetrius. I go by Didi. Peace. Oh yeah, Didi got a podcast.
Attitudes and our work ethic become very important in realizing our goals and opening up possibilities. I had lunch a couple of weeks ago with a recent graduate at UCA. And his story is really fascinating. It's one of overcoming homelessness during his time pursuing his degree, first at a community college here in Arkansas, and then finishing his bachelor's degree here at UCA. His narrative ranges from estrangement from family for many years to a hopeful reunion with mother and siblings. His record is one of overcoming odds in a way that I probably could not, and certainly demonstrating levels of tenacity and patience and optimism that I can only marvel at. He wanted to talk with me about his new job and his career path going forward. I really need to be there to learn from him because that's where the real value was.
Everything I say in this video is alleged. Allegedly. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. Y'all can just repeat after me. I really appreciate it. Alright. No such thing. Come on, we can do better than that. Talk to it. Talk to it. Now let's start it over. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. You're worse than the rich white people who are, or the rich white Jews that own these record labels, because they don't even understand these populations. You have a lot closer relationship to these people, and you're leading them to hellfire. You are leading them in the wrong direction in the name of getting rich and famous. How dare you? Oh yeah, Didi got a podcast.